cars on the grid at the moment are there for the final of the Repco Birthday Series, a series of 5 races that have been run here at Calder over the past 12 months, culminating in the event today. The cars will be going on a 2-lap warm-up any second now before the commencement of the race. And looking down the point score, it seems hard to go past Bob Muir. He's currently leading the point score with 45 points. However, should he something go wrong with the car today, then he could well lose. The reason being that today's events carry double points. In other words, the winner of today's event will get 30 points. It also carries double the prize money, $2,000. And in addition, the series winner will receive a Holden Monaro car from Repco. So indeed, this is probably Adrian, Australia's most valuable car race when you look at it dollar per mile value.
Yeah, it certainly would be. There's no doubt about that, David. Frank Matic looks as though he's the one that's going to take out this particular race today, but we've got Kevin Bartlett, John McCormick, Warwick Brown, Max Stewart, Gary Cooper and Bob Muir, and also young John Walker, who went very well, actually led Matic in the first race for a couple of laps until he broke a half shaft in the car and of course was not able to complete the race. So we might see some fireworks from John Walker from South Australia. In the Formula 2 cars, there should be a great battle between Tony Stewart in car number 21 and Leo Gagan driving car number 51, which is the South Australian-built Barana, and also Alfredo Costanzo from Melbourne driving the very early model Elfin, and a reappearance of young Mike Stilwell from B.S. Stilwell and Company in a brand new Elfin 620 from South Australia. So it should be a fairly good 4-way battle between those 4 from the Formula 2 section. But of course most interest is going to be on the leaders, and we've got them coming back onto the grid now. Kevin Bartlett just moving back into position, and we'll run through the grid for you as soon as we can.
Adrian, just while the cars are lining up, perhaps I could tell the viewers the current point score in the series. Bob Muir is on 45 points, Kevin Bartlett on 40, John McCormick and Clive Millis on 19 each, and Frank Matic 15 points. They're basically the only ones. There's some minor repairs being carried out.
On Frank Matic's car?
Yes.
I think they're checking tyre pressures mostly, although they seem to be working on that front suspension. There's putting the jack under it and changing a wheel, Changing a wheel. Evidently Frank Matic found that there was something not quite right on that warm-up lap, and this of course is the benefit of doing a couple of laps warm-up, so that if there are any small faults, they can certainly find them out before they get into a 30-lap race, such as they're about to head into now.
So the winner of this race, 30 points, plus $2,000 and a Holden Monaro car, whilst the runner-up will be compensated in some way with a cheque for $500.
Well, certainly, if Frank Matic wins and Bob Muir doesn't finish, and Kevin Bartlett finishes well back, it could be possibly a win even for the series for Frank Matic. Any one of 3 drivers could win it: Frank Matic, Kevin Bartlett, or Bob Muir. On the front of the grid now, Frank Matic in the Matic A50. In position there, the mechanics wiping the tyres down. Beside him, Kevin Bartlett in the Chesterfield Lola. Behind them, car number 3, the Ansett Elfin of John McCormick. Beside him, car number 10, Warwick Brown in the McLaren. Further back, we have Gary Cooper in the second of the Ansett cars. Number 2, Max Stewart in his Lola. And then behind them, the Lola of Bob Muir, car number 7, back on the 4th row of the grid, and the other Matic A50 Repco driven by John Walker. Then we go into the Formula 2 cars with Tony Stewart in 21, and 51 is Leo Gagan. Half a minute to go. Car number 51 there is Leo Gagan. Return to open wheeler racing. There's Kevin Bartlett slowly creeping forward as he looks towards the starter, Fred Wheelhouse. Fred has the flag now. There's young Mike Stillwell's car, number 36, the new Elfin 620, powered by the Ford Cortina motor. Watching now with about 5 seconds to go, and it's a 30-lap race. The flag is down, and a great start by Matic, and also by Bob Muir, who came from the 4th row and almost took John McCormick with him as they went through. He dived right across the circuit, McCormick, because he got clipped by Muir's car. No, it wasn't. It was Gary Cooper, I think, who got clipped. And Gary Cooper had all his work cut out to keep the car on the track. And he's dropped well back in the field now. But it's Frank Madich, followed by Warwick Brown, and then Kevin Bartlett as they race up towards Toyota Corner for the first time. The pace will certainly really be on now. There they are in line astern as they run through, and all the Formula 2 cars just going through now, the finish of the grid. And here are the leaders coming down Marlborough Straight. Frank Madich, Warwick Brown in 10, then Kevin Bartlett in 5, Bob Muir, then followed by two Ansel Elton cars from McCormick, and Gary Cooper with John Walker swinging out to the right-hand side and taking the Repco corner away from Gary Cooper as they race through into the right-hand. Madich in the Australian-built Madich Repco A50. Australia's racing driver champion for 1972. And here he comes, round through Toyota Corner, leading young Warwick Brown from New South Wales. Warwick Brown is the McLaren M10B, quite an old car by comparison to the others here. Car number 2, this one is Gary Cooper, the Elton team car, just running through into Repco, into Motorcraft Corner. Down the straight once more, already 2 laps completed. And John McCormick making a passing move as they run up, and he goes up on the inside of Bob Muir, but just couldn't quite do it. Muir still holds his 4th position. Out on the back straight once more, on Dunlop Straight, still Frank Madich. Going away very nicely, Warwick Brown still in 2nd position as they race up into the right-hander at Toyota Corner. Sweeping through now, Warwick Brown in 2nd spot, then Kevin Bartlett, then John McCormick it was who went through, and there's Max Stewart, well back in the field at this stage in car number 6, the Elton MR5 of the Seiko Service Centre. Still the now moving up on the right-hand side on your screen there, you can see John Walker moving up one more position. John Walker driving very, very hard from a fairly bad start, well back in the grid, and he's certainly pulling his way through the field. He's going right away from Gary Cooper now as they race up towards the right-hander. Through the S's, into Motorcraft S's. Still Madich the leader, then Warwick Brown and Kevin Bartlett sweeping through behind him, and Bob Muir in 4th position. There's number 3 in 5th position at this stage, and this would be the Ansett Elton car of Gary Cooper. Coming down the straight now into the Repco corner once more, and again it's Madich. A little bit twitchy that time as he came out of Repco corner. He's trying evidently to build up as much lead as he possibly can over Warwick Brown and Kevin Bartlett, and up into 4th position now we have John Walker. Young John Walker has moved up into 4th position, and here's Madich now. Beautifully controlled drive. He brings the car around, flips the inside, and we almost get right into the cockpit of the car, with 2 wings at the back of the car to help stability as he comes roaring down that Marlborough Straight. Followed by Warwick Brown and Kevin Bartlett sitting in Warwick Brown's slipstream. Moves out to the right-hand side now to try and take him into Repco, but just couldn't quite do it. Almost got his nose right up under the gearbox of Warwick Brown's car. In 4th position, we've got John Walker. In 5th place, Bob Muir. In 6th place, John McCormick. And in 7th place, we have Gary Cooper. There's the leader, Frank Madich. Warwick Brown in 2nd spot. Kevin Bartlett and the Chesterfield Lola in 3rd position. Then in 4th spot we have John Walker. Then in 5th, Bob Muir. 6th would be Gary Cooper. 7th would have been 6th was John McCormick. 7th was Gary Cooper. And in 8th position, car number 6, which is the Seiko Service Centre car, the Elton MR5 with Max Stewart. They've completed 6 laps. 6 laps completed, 24 to go. Once again, Madich out into the rough stuff a little bit as he comes out of Repco corner. He's really trying to build up this lead. Obviously, so that in the last 10 laps or so he can take it a little bit easier. Round Toyota corner, and he sweeps round through Motorcraft and up to Glowweave corner. Down Glowweave and out onto Marlborough Straight once more. Here he comes. Frank Madich, the Madich A50 Repco. 23 laps to go as he goes past our co-controller team. In 2nd spot now is Kevin Bartlett. Bartlett has moved into 2nd place, and John Walker is challenging for 3rd position now as they race into Repco corner. There's our leader, out on Dunlop Straight. There's Bartlett now up into second place, having replaced Warwick Brown. Warwick Brown still in third position in car number 10, McLaren. And right behind him and coming up the challenge now is John Walker from South Australia in the second of the A50 managed Repcos. Round through Toyota Corner. They're travelling at something like 80 or 90 miles an hour through those corners, and they're within about, probably 2 or 3 feet of each other, if that. There's the leader. He's gone through now. That's Madich. Coming through in second spot is still Kevin Bartlett. Car number 5. In third position, car 10, Warwick Brown. Fourth position, car 25, John Walker. Then the 3 cars going down into the straight then were the 5th, 6th and 7th positions. There's our leader. Lapping some of the slower cars, you'd almost think they were stopped. And here's where it's going to be difficult now for Frank Madich to weave his way through the field, and this is why he tried to build up as much lead as he possibly could, because he's got some of these slower cars in front of him, and this is going to make it increasingly difficult for him. He comes down the straight now, goes past Allison and also car number 36 with Stillwell, and Ken Hastings in car number 13. Bartlett still second. Warwick Brown still third. Madich bumping over the ribbon strip on the inside, on the curbing on the inside of the circuit bend as he came through Repco Corner. And this means that when you see Frank Madich using up all the circuit, he really is trying. Through Toyota Corner. He wants those 30 points, there's no doubt about it. He knows that Bob Muir is a long way back. Round they go, following in line astern. There's second and third place just went out of our picture, and fourth, fifth and sixth, Bob Muir and the 2 Ansett Elfin team cars of John McCormick and Gary Cooper. Down the straight, Bartlett flashing past the rest of the slower cars, followed through by Warwick Brown, then John Walker, who's challenging Brown again as they go into the right-hander at Repco Corner. Bob Muir, John McCormick and Gary Cooper in close company as they went through Repco. Up at Motorcraft Corner, car number 1, Australian driver champion Frank Madich. The car which he designed and built himself, powered by the Repco V8 engine, based on the 253 cubic inch Ireland motor in this Australian Formula 1 or Formula 5000 as we call it. The braking area of Repco Corner, accelerating away now on a Dunlop straight once more. Beautiful drive by Madich, showing the style that gave him the Australian crown for this year. He sweeps through, heading a couple of the smaller Australian Formula 2 cars, running through the S's. Out of Lowood Corner now. And the 2 cars behind him are the 2 cars leading the Formula 2 race at this stage. Leo Gagan in 51, the Verana, and Tony Stewart in 21, the Dolphin England. Named after the Paul England, who makes the engines for these cars based on a Ford 2-litre motor. Round they come now, and once more it's Madich as he heads through Toyota Corner. Using all the circuit, coming right in close on the apex and right out wide on the exit of the corner. And as he flashes down now, 17 laps to go. 13 completed and 17 to go. Not quite half distance for Frank Madich. Kevin Bartlett has just gone through past our Coca-Cola Tower now as Frank Madich comes out of Repco Corner about a quarter of a mile or perhaps a little bit more ahead of Kevin Bartlett in second spot. Through Toyota Corner, exactly the same line. The big cars a lot twitchier than the smaller open-wheeler Formula cars that we've seen. Tremendous amount of power, and it comes on in great large lumps when they put their foot down. The cars have this very twitchy look as they accelerate out of the corner. They seem to jerk from side to side. Coming down, there's Kevin Bartlett flashing past us here on Marlborough Straight, and still being chased now by John Walker, who has moved up into third place. John Walker in third place, the third car you saw going through that corner, and behind him is car number 10, Warwick Brown. Then John McCormick has moved up one spot in front of Bob Muir. and Gary Cooper is back in 7th position. Leader goes through, and now you can see Kevin Bartlett just coming out of Glowweave corner, followed through now by John Walker, who's going very, very quickly. John Walker is actually narrowing the gap down to Kevin Bartlett, and probably one of the best drives we've seen from young John Walker from South Australia. The leader disappearing up the Dunlop Straight, up towards Toyota corner once more. Again, one of these slower cars coming through behind him. Matic clips the dirt on the inside that time, and once again goes to within a few inches of the inside of the circuit and bumps over the rough stuff on the outside as he comes out of Glowweave. Down the straight he goes, and back we go, and you can see now the distance between Kevin Bartlett, car number 5, and behind him is John Walker in the other Matic A50. Now John Walker has come through from about 7th position to 3rd place, and will be lapping, I would say, anything up to probably half a second a lap quicker than Kevin Bartlett at this stage, and with still 14 or 13 and a half laps to go, Kevin Bartlett's hold on second spot is being whittled down all the time.
Adrian, on my calculations, if Bartlett holds his current position, he would in fact take the title, because he started this with 40 points, just 5 points behind Bob Muir, and yet Bob Muir's in 6th, I think, at the moment.
Yes, Bob Muir's quite
I
well.
don't think he'd have, because this race carries double points, I think we might see.
There they are now, and you can see Walker pulling out, and Walker is trying to pass Kevin Bartlett. It's a really tremendous battle between these two. Walker's trying every trick in the book, but Kevin Bartlett has been twice Australian driver champion, and he knows how to keep a man behind, and he's really going to try and do it. He's going to use every bit of skill he knows, and John Walker hasn't had the experience of Kevin Bartlett, but he's certainly got ability, there's no doubt about it. And he's got an excellent motor car, because it's the same car that Frank Matic is driving up there in 1st position, and it'd be a great feather in Frank Matic's cap if John Walker could come through in 2nd spot. And here they come, down the straight once more. This time, John Walker just a little bit behind him. Kevin Bartlett has certainly been given the message, and he's increased his lead in 2nd spot to about 2 or 3 car lengths. Round through Repco corner. John Walker leading the rest of the field in 3rd position. But there's our leader, car number 1, Frank Matic. Matic A50 Repco. Our 2nd and 3rd place cars, Kevin Bartlett and John Walker. There they go, round through Glowweave corner. Once again, this challenge by John Walker now as he corners very close in, drifts right out wide, and they're coming down now to lap Ken Hastings of the McLaren M4A. And they're going to flash past him as they go down into the right-hander. Walker hanging in the slipstream of Kevin Bartlett's Lola. And back with our leader once more. Weaving his way through the S's. A bit of traffic slowing him up a little bit as he comes through Glowweave corner. Not taking any risks at all. He's got a substantial lead, and he doesn't want to lose it. The car, I told you before, a little bit twitchy, you can see it as it comes out of the corners. But this is a characteristic of the Formula 5000 cars, with tremendous weight disadvantage at the back. The much heavier engine at the back. And there he goes, round through Repco corner. The car sliding out just a little bit wide, and in fact looks a little bit ragged for the normal style of driving we're used to seeing from Frank Matic. Matic up into Toyota corner now. He's coming round now, 9.5 laps to go. 2/3 of the distance completed, 9.5 laps to go. There's Kevin Bartlett, followed by John Walker. Walker again hanging right on the tail of Kevin Bartlett's Lola. They sweep around, about 2 car lengths between them, one as they come through, half a car length almost, back to 1 length as they come through the S's. Out of Glowweave corner, and this time John Walker is within striking distance again. Bartlett just gets the acceleration a little bit quicker and pulls away slightly, but John Walker, I think, possibly may feel that he has his measure and is waiting until perhaps only a couple of laps to go. One of the slower cars, Ken Hastings, being passed as the 2 cars battling for 2nd and 3rd position. Race past him and up Dunlop Straight. Up to the right-hander once more at Toyota corner. Bartlett still with the advantage in 2nd spot. Kevin Bartlett's Lola T300 sponsored by Chesterfield and certainly a very potent machine, and Kevin Bartlett, a tremendously skillful driver. There they come, down the straight again, down the Marlborough straight and heading in to the right-hander at Repco corner. Precision driving from these two as they sweep through Repco, and there's our leader, right in the S's, half a lap in front of him, on the opposite side of the circuit. The Matich A50 Repco, driven by Frank Matich, who won the Australian Championship at Warwick Farm just recently. There's Kevin Bartlett sneaking through on a slower car, followed again by John Walker. They go through the motorcraft S's, the slower drivers, exhibiting a great deal of courtesy here in getting right out of the way and not getting in the road of these very fast cars. Down the straight now, coming up the lap, Michael Stillwell, and also car number 19, which was Ian Lees in the Repco Brabant. They sweep past Stillwell as they dive down to the right-hander. And John Walker has got through. Walker has got through into second place, ahead of Bartlett. So John Walker now has made it a Matich 1-2, with Matich cars in first and second place, and Kevin Bartlett can see those points dwindling away from him as he looks now at the rear of John Walker's car instead of seeing him flashing in the rear view mirrors. Kevin Bartlett trying hard now to get back into his second spot, around Glowweave corner. Down they come, on Marlborough Straight. Only 6 laps to go now, and John Walker, as I predicted, waited until a few laps to the finish and has picked off Kevin Bartlett now, and looks like he could possibly hold his second spot.
Right, you're watching the Repco Series final on the 7 National Sporting Service.
Frank Matich still the leader, and the leader by almost half a lap. Down the Marlborough Straight, and he has just lapped Leo Gagan and Tony Stewart for the second time. Leo Gagan, driving the Malcolm Ramsey car from South Australia, the Marana 272, is leading the Formula 2 series, or leading the Formula 2 section of this race. Warwick Brown is still in 4th position, and 5th place is still John McCormick, 6th is Gary Cooper, and in 7th position we would have Max Stewart. Looks as though somewhere around the circuit we have lost Bob Muir. His car is in the back of the pits at the moment. So Bob Muir has lost his chance of winning the series this year by the look of it. Racing through Toyota corner now, the Ansett Elfin of John McCormick's, and then the second of the Ansett Elfins, their very distinctive nose. That car driven by Gary Cooper, the builder of these particular cars. Allison just going through too. There's our leader once more now, coming around. This will be 3 laps to go. Next time he comes past our Coca-Cola Tower.
With the withdrawal of Bob Muir, Adrian, it looks a foregone conclusion at this stage that Kevin Bartlett will in fact take out the series. If he can hold 3rd place, he will finish up with the highest point score.
That's right, yes. I imagine Kevin Bartlett won't be trying to pass or to repass John Walker at this stage now, when he realises that Muir's car is out of the race, because the points that he will pick up in the second spot, 15 points I understand, will put him the winner of the Repco $15,000 birthday series. There's our lead car, Frank Matich, car number 1, through the motorcraft S's and heading up towards Glowweave corner again. Around Glowweave now, he comes into our side of Marlborough Straight, and there he comes, flashing down. You can see the sign which changed to 2 laps to go as he flashed past. The Holden sign, the Holden scoreboard, which shows us that there are 2 laps to go. Back in second spot now, we have John Walker making it a 1-2, and there's car number 5, Kevin Bartlett, for Chesterfield Racing. And Kevin Bartlett will be the winner of the series, just narrowly ahead of Frank Matich and Bob Muir, who will be equal on points when Frank Matich takes the checkered flag in just a lap and a half's time. Matich once again coming down to lap another of the slower cars, this one car number 62, which is driven by Bruce Allison for Hobby and Toyland Racing, an Elfin 600D. Car has been lapped, I think, 3 times now in the 30 laps. And Frank Matich now with about 3/4 of a mile to go on the Dunlop Straight. The car dips a little as he changes gears, and then you'll notice just the front dip slightly as he applies the brakes, comes into Toyota corner for the final time in this race. Bumps over the ribbon strip on the inside of Motorcraft corner and brings it round beautifully, winning the race in, I'd say, record time, because he certainly seems to have been going very, very quickly. And there's the checkered flag out for Frank Matic and the Matic A50 Repco. A wonderful drive and a wonderful win, and I think a tremendous drive too by John Walker, who will take out second spot. We're just waiting for him now to appear, and here he comes out of Marlborough corner now, out of Blowreef corner, and down the Marlborough straight, and pulling out to pass some of the slower cars again. Car number 5, third. Kevin Bartlett for Chesterfield Racing in the Lola T300, and then the McLaren M10B of Warwick Browns for Pat Burke Racing.
Right, well, that was a sensational finish to this Repco birthday series. We'll be back with more exciting motorsport from Calder after this message from the studio. You're in tune with the 7 National Sporting Service.